I'm Micki Lavin-Pell, marriage, family, sex, and trauma therapist.
And I'm Molly Livingstone, alternative thinking consultant and comedian. And this is Let's Start. So, what are we talking about today?
Today, we're talking about optimism.
Dun dun dun.
Yes.
That word scares me.
Yeah.
We were talking about this a little bit off camera. What is optimism? What do you mean by that?
Optimism is just finding ways to keep you feeling upbeat and not letting you get stuck in this gloomy, doomy, horrible way of feeling.
And it has to be one or the other?
Well, it doesn't have to be. No, I think we kind of flow between those two continuums on a regular basis.
I like this idea that there's the realist, and I feel like a lot of the times that speaks more truth to me. I get scared that optimism is denial.
Yeah.
Is like being like
Fake,
being very positive when reality is that it's not. And I think that in our world, in our setting, especially living through a war in Israel, like I don't know if I envy the optimists or I feel bad for them. You know?
Yeah. Why would you feel bad for the optimists?
Because I don't think they live within a reality, and like
And if they don't, so what?
They'll wake up one day to it and
crash.
it'll be like too late. Like
It's fascinating you say that. Oh, sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's just like it reminds me a lot of the times people used to always say like it was the pessimists that got out of Europe during World War II because they knew like guys, it's not gonna be good, and the optimists were like, no, it'll get better.
Oh, and they stayed and they died.
Correct.
Oh, I thought you meant actually the ones who were in the concentration camps, because those are the ones that were searching for hope and meaning.
Right.
So I think those guys were the ones that really survived. The pessimists were like, I'm out, game over, I don't have food, I can't take this.
So searching for hope and meaning, optimism?
I think they're kind of sort of connected.
Cool. Okay.
But there is something about living under a rock that is dangerous. And I'll share a little story with you. I remember the day that Hersch Goldberg Polin was buried, at the day of his funeral, there was a woman. I was walking towards the buses to get to Har HaMenuchot, and there was a woman sitting there who was bawling her eyes out. And this is like, we're talking 200 days into the war. I can't remember the exact number, but it was at least 200 something days into the war.
Yeah.
And this woman actually knew the Goldberg Polins and somehow wasn't aware that Hersch was even a hostage.
No.
And she, I kid you not, and she was just hysterical crying because this was the first time that she was even aware. Like she just somehow, her husband was in Miluim, and the only way that she was able to make it through was by like not watching any news or social media. She just literally dug her head under a rock. I'm not going to say that she was fully living in optimism, but she just was living not in this reality that the rest of us were.
Right.
And when she somehow came out and heard this, I mean, she was just beyond all recognition.
So what would your advice be to somebody like her in terms of that balance?
Well,
There's not enough showtime for that.
Yeah, I mean that's a whole different show. But I think that the point I'm trying to make here is that we do need to have some sort of semblance of a balance of living in reality and feeling some hope and optimism, even when things look really gloomy and down, which is most of the time. I don't think we even need to have a war or for things to be bad. I think, even pre-war time, even pre-corona time, sometimes it was hard for people to feel optimistic. I mean, people also fell down by various things. The constant changes and fluctuations and different stuff going on throughout the world. There's always something.
I feel like even if I'm trying to be more positive, especially when it comes to my kids who I want to shelter from a lot of the doom and gloom around them, so they have like some semblance of a childhood that is, I mean, well, they'll all end up in therapy, but less. I feel that I can feel everyone else's suffering. Yeah. And it's not just that they're suffering, they're also very much outward becoming more and more aggressive, right? Like people.
Your children are, or people.
No, well, also, but like people, yes. Yeah. I'm feeling everyone's pain. So even if I'm trying to be like, I'm going to stay optimistic or I'm going to try to be positive during this very difficult time, I'm getting honked at more. Yeah. I've seen more aggressive driving, like to the
Yeah.
point I've seen 3 fights in the last 2 months on the road, physical fights, people getting out of their cars. And like, it never got to that in Israel. There was
Yeah.
never, like, there wasn't road
Were you
rage.
driving before?
Yeah,
Really?
it was. Yeah. Now I
Okay.
do drive more. It's fair.
I've seen
It's like,
varying.
I don't know. So maybe that's it. Like maybe I'm thinking I'm noticing things more, and maybe you're saying that like
don't
it's
know.
all
Yeah.
a balancing act in and of itself. What's interesting, and I don't know where this falls, is the World Happiness, whatever it is, the
Continuum.
they rate the
The happiest countries in the world. Yeah.
and
we're
we-
up there.
So we used to be, I think it was 4 or
3
5.
or 4?
No, I don't think we've ever hit 3, but 4 or 5, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, just to give you like, America's normally in the 20s. Okay?
Yeah.
Um,
And they've got Disney World and
right.
Disneyland. Opposite sides of the country.
Yeah, but we were 8 this year, and so that's also pretty shocking still. And I was just at my like family doctor, and I mentioned it to him, and he said, "No, it makes sense. It makes sense because people who have purpose
Yeah.
live fuller lives."
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
so this concept of happiness, like we do think it's like Disneyland, but
Yeah.
it's not.
No.
It's the fuller picture of life. It
Completely.
is, and it's having conviction and purpose, and
A meaning.
definitely in Israel you have that. Every
Yeah.
single thing you do has purpose.
Waking up in the morning in Israel and feeling like
Yeah,
I've got so much to do because there's so much going on.
yeah,
Definitely keeps you feeling optimistic and hopeful and positive that you feel that you are contributing in this major way.
yeah. So
Even if it's just- yeah.
even those of us that say we're realists or pessimists or whatever, what is your advice? Like, what are some tips, the professional side of things, and
Yeah.
of how to strive for a better balance? Like to say it's okay to be an optimist.
Yeah.
That's my first question, which you have some tips for us. And then I think the second question is, why does all of this matter, Micki? Why does it matter? Okay, so I'm a pessimist or an
Yeah.
optimist. You deal with relationships. How much does this matter for me to be with somebody that's the right person for me and to maintain a healthy relationship?
So I think I want to answer the second question first, which is why does it matter to be, why should we aim or strive to be optimistic? First of all, I don't think we should, I have to clarify, we shouldn't aim to be optimistic all the time. I think that we definitely need a balance. I think it's very unhealthy to just be optimistic, and I've seen plenty of people in the world who try to be optimistic all the time despite all the stuff that's going around. And it takes a tremendous amount of energy to do that, and it also that person ends up being really not authentic and not real with themselves. And then people can't really connect with them because they see them as being fake,
Interesting.
right?
Yeah,
And
yeah, I get
it's
that.
just like, who are you? Like, where do I put you?
Yeah.
And then they're just not living in this reality. And then I think that person is really at risk of, some major
Of actually
mental-
having
a serious breakdown. You can't stay up all the time. It's just humanly impossible. It's
Yeah.
just not.
Yeah. A lot of drugs can help, but yeah.
Yeah, but even that. So the reason to try to strive for some sort of optimism is because what are we here for? What's it all about? And I think so. You want to have some sort of steady flow, like to feel that the steady flow, the peaks and the valleys, going between the optimism and the negativism, is really what we should be kind of, I don't know, striving for. But that's a reality.
Yeah.
That's-
or
that's
just
where we should
aware
go.
of. Like, let us be
This is-
aware of
right.
who we are.
And knowing that when you're feeling really down, know that if you're really low, you got to come up because you can't stay down that long. You gotta
Right.
you gotta find things, or things will find you
Yeah.
to help you come up. You'll find someone who's worse off than you are, or
Yeah.
you'll just
Still waiting for that, but yeah.
there's plenty of that. Just
Yeah.
step outside,
Okay.
you'll
so,
find it. So that's the
That's-
why.
Okay.
Now let's talk about the how.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do we maintain optimism?
Yeah.
So first of all, knowing that just by focusing on the positive things around you, that just helps keep you up. It helps keep you feeling, alive and
Yeah.
real, and
Yeah.
that's a really good thing. So if you really focus on the positive things, that will just come back to you, and then you just, like, the positive kind of breeds the positive. Okay. The other thing is to count the blessings that you have. Just look around you and say, thank God my children are relatively healthy. Thank God I'm in a decent partnership. Thank God I can enjoy the flowers. thank God it's the summer and it's not freezing outside. Thank God,
Yeah.
there's a million things you could thank God for or see positive blessings around you.
And you don't have to thank God also.
Yes.
It's,
Yes.
it's not just God.
It's not, yes.
Just be thankful.
Thankful, be thankful. Yes. Okay, so look for windows everywhere you see a wall. When you feel like you've hit that brick wall, I know when you were really having a hard time, I think I can share this, when you were struggling to find a job and you didn't really, sorry to bring
Torture.
but you're in a good one now, so that's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
But I know, like, every time I'd see you, be like, oh my God, and I'd say to you, Molly, come on, it's got to be around the corner. It's got to be around the corner.
Yes.
And we, try to look at the upshot of it. Like, you really had time to really deal with a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So when you feel that brick wall, you look for the window.
Yeah.
And then when you find that window, you just crack it open, and then that helps to bring in more light, more air, more freshness.
And I will say about that, that it's very important not to force things. So I wanted to force getting the right job and like, here's the perfect job. How come I'm not getting it? And using all my force in the world to like make it happen.
Yeah.
And when a lot of people would just say like, it's going to happen and let it be. And when I finally kind of did that let go feeling, I was able to appreciate both not working and having that time and understanding that eventually it will happen, and then it did.
Yeah.
And I think that is the mindset that you also have to have towards that optimism of, if I just start to say what I'm thankful for, eventually I'll just be thankful. And it'll be more natural instead of forcing it.
Right.
Just take those little bites where you can.
Yeah.
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 I don't know if that makes sense.
It seems to work. No.
Yeah.
You just want to try to, like, when that positivity comes in there, you just really want to lap it up and suck it up, because you don't know when it's going to come down.
Yeah.
Right? That's the other thing.
Yeah. So what other?
So the other tip is finding positive people to be around.
Oh yeah.
Right? Because if you're around negative people, that just schleps you down, and it's just it can't be good for anybody.
Also.
Totally exhausting. Yeah.
Yeah. I like those positive people. I think they see the world very differently than me, and I can appreciate it. And I think it's really like I know that I said that sometimes it makes me like nervous for those people, like, oh gosh, I don't know.
They're going to crash.
But there are people that it really is a talent to be that appreciative. It's really nice.
Yeah.
And it's nice to be around it. So I agree with that.
Yeah. I'm thinking about a person I knew whose husband was suffering with like some major organ failure. And I remember being around her and thinking, how is this woman so positive? She was like Baruch Hasheming everything. And I was like, how are you? Like, you've got this husband who is suffering, and he would like needed like multiple organs were like crashing. And I just didn't know how she was holding it together. And I felt like there was a part of her that was like not fully real, not fully in this world, but somehow that was working for her. It seemed like it was.
Right.
So I was like, look, God bless,
Yeah. And it made you feel, you could feel that, like that is the rays of the sunshine that have that effect.
Yeah.
And now, even with the war, and I do try to give people more benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
And I really try to pay it forward, because I do believe that will have an effect, and that can be like my role. I think you said this off camera, but you can say it here too.
We talked about it on our smiling show.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad you remembered. But you were speaking a little bit before about the effects that it can have to just like a little bit goes a long way. And to kind of be focused on positivity and paying it forward to the next person.
Yeah. And then it bounces back at you. It's like a boomerang kind of thing. That when you're positive and you're smiling at people, like we talked about, really just challenging yourself to smile at people, even though you don't feel like smiling, then they smile back at you, and then you create this whole boomerang of smiling effect thing. And it's just, it's really wonderful when you feel you could just give somebody a little something. It's like giving someone a gift, a free gift.
Yeah, free is great.
We love free.
Yeah. I also use I use the difficulty, and I put it into my comedy, which probably most comedians do.
Yeah.
It's like, and it used to be like people would think I'm so funny when I'm angry, and it was so annoying. And then I saw somebody else being angry, and I thought it was hilarious, and then I was like, oh, that's me, I get it now. But like, it's very important that you can like you can have the mindset, you can like make things better, you can control it. That's what you were saying, you can't control really anything, but you can control your outlook.
Right. You can't control things around you, but you can control the way that you respond to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I'm stepping in and saying like, okay, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. You're honking at me. Maybe, you have a loved one who, you have a kid in Gaza right now that's serving, like you haven't heard from them from week. Like I really try to play those games because it brings me back down to like, hey,
You're suffering.
yeah.
And you got it worse than me.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know. That's the thing. Like,
Yeah.
I would want someone to treat me nicer. So,
Yeah.
like, then I have to lead by example.
Absolutely.
And so, if I want to see
Yeah.
the world in a beautiful place, it has to come from me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then maybe the world will be beautiful. See, I'm optimistic
There
already.
you go. There you go.
I almost believed it.
Yeah. And the other thing is not overwhelming yourself with negative news. Like not watching the news or social media.
All
Like
the
making
time,
sure
like I do.
don't like flood yourself with that. So
Yeah.
take like little fasts, like news fasts.
Right.
Or if you have to watch the news, which, some of us have to be like a little bit attached to reality, maybe like watching it at the very beginning of the day or in the middle of the day.
Right.
And that's it. Like just for a few minutes.
Right.
Get
I've
it.
heard
Goodbye.
this. Like, if you're not able to actually change that news story,
Yeah.
why do you have to keep reading about it?
Yeah, you
you're
don't
not
need
gonna
every
have
angle.
an effect. Yeah, just like chill.
Yeah.
And then there are other ways to do things. Like when I
Yeah.
heard that advice, I said, okay, you know what? There was like a prayer for not just the hostages, but all of us who are bereaved from the pogroms that we like witnessed and experienced in the anti-Semitism for October 7th and the day after.
Yeah.
And I just do this like prayer every morning that like says, I hope we're gonna heal and I hope we are all healthy, like everybody, including the hostages. And like that was my contribution instead of being able to like watch the news and think I was gonna somehow, the more knowledgeable I am, the more, no.
Yeah. There was actually someone who wrote to me, I can't remember what the context was, but he said that by doing like some sort of meditation, if we all just meditated in a positive way, we could actually create this positive energy in the world and send out so much positive energy in the world. And it's something that I try to take on. I try to think positive things. Like we have this saying in Hebrew, Lachshov tov yeh tov. There's even a song, Lachshov tov. I know, like my son's school when he was like, in fourth, fifth, sixth grade, they would play it as the bell.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That would take them. Yeah. And it was like,
Subliminal messaging.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that though. And that's very the Israeli spirit.
Yeah.
That is very much Yeh Beseder, it will be
Beseder.
okay.
Yeah. Or as David Broza says, Yeh Tov.
Yeh Tov.
That song. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, that's good. I like this.
Okay.
Yeah, so you gave us a few takeaways, and of course we have the short clip where you can just get a quick like fix on how to do a little better, be a little better,
Give yourself a little
feel a little
optimism
better.
injection.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. It's the opportunity to start. It doesn't matter where you were. We're giving you the opportunity here. We believe that you can start now, and so why not? So start with a little bit of optimism.
Yeah.
And go from there.
Absolutely.
Well,
It's never too late to start.
It's never. Start now. So, but end this now and watch another episode or something else. This has been great. Thank you.
Yeah.
This is another episode of Let's Start. If you enjoyed that episode of Let's Start, it's easy to keep listening or watching. All you have to do is
follow us on Micki Lavin-Pell on LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook, or check out my website, lovingwisely.co.il.
what are you waiting for? Let's start.